Well, I want to know, did you see it? A Virginia school board member stormed out of a meeting after she was questioned by a parent regarding masks. That parent, Alicia Vaught, stood up and called out some members of the school board, calling them, quote, hypocrites for enforcing mask mandates for students, but not actually following them in their private lives. Here's part of that video.
Ms. Cass, you also yelled at me the last time I was here for taking off my mask, but here's a picture of you right here on Facebook with a crowd of people.
That's it.
With no mask on. This is my time and I don't interrupt you. Here's another picture with you with a no mask on.
I'm sorry, Ms. Vaught, you are done. If you are going to sit there and disparage a member of our school board, then you can sit down. If you have something effective to say.
I have facts and truth on my side.
I am not going to sit here.
This isn't about you anymore. It's about
Can we have a police officer, please?
So when other board members stood up, they defended Vaught's right to speak. Chairwoman Susan Cass, who you heard off screen there, got up and she walked out. So with me now is the mother who spoke up during that meeting, Alicia Vaught, who you just saw in the video. I believe we have her right there. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, before we get to the meat of all this, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Alicia?
Alicia Vaught, yes.
Perfect. Well, because we want to get your name right. Okay, so we saw just a snippet of that video. And just from what I saw, the amount of instant anger and defensiveness coming from Chairwoman Susan Cass, did that intimidate you? I mean, you seem to be so calm and collected while just approaching her with facts.
Right. No, she didn't intimidate me. Just we're all so fed up with the liberal hypocrisy. So we figured it was about time for her to be called on her actions since she was so insistent on keeping our kids muzzled and making it to where they couldn't breathe.
Well, let's put this into perspective here because, you know, you were speaking very calmly. I watched the video and you were saying, hey, listen, I have this picture of you on Facebook. You are unmasked, yet you are enforcing these mask mandates on our children. And immediately she got upset. I believe the quote was, you know, she was angry about her family because they were in the photo. And then you asked, well, what about our families? And what was her response?
Right. I said, what about our families? What do you think about our families? And she says, I'm not.
She said, I don't care. Yeah.
She said, yeah, first she says, I'm not. And then she says, I don't care. But both answers are pretty true, in my opinion.
So, you know, another thing kind of to point out is your former governor was enforcing certain mandates. Current Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin is passing Senate Bill 739, or that's going through, allowing parents to opt out of mask mandates. And I think one of your questions was, why are we to follow one governor's lead and not the other?
Right. It actually has been signed into law now. And so they took the mask mandates off starting yesterday, and we did. They made us follow Governor Northam's executive orders. They said we must follow his orders, and we did. And then when Governor Youngkin gets elected into office, we expected them to follow his orders as well. They did not want to. So that's not fair, and it's not teaching our kids to be fair.
Alicia, what do you think of, you know, when Chairwoman Cass, she got upset. We heard it in her voice, even though we couldn't see her in that video. She called the deputies into the side, and it almost seemed like a little bit of a threat to silence you. And from my perspective, I wasn't there for the whole meeting, but from what I saw, you seemed very calm, very respectful. And the only thing that she got upset was that you had this photo off of her Facebook.
And it was off of her public Facebook. It was not of her family. It was her coworkers and her friends. And it was sent to me. There was two pictures. They were sent to me a couple hours before I went to the board meeting. She was just embarrassed. It comes down to her just being embarrassed. And she probably isn't used to someone calling her on her own stuff. The deputy, he didn't bother me because he wasn't aggressive. He was very nice and respectful. I do wish that she would rethink how she's going to use her power, because her power is not to sick the police on the parents just because she doesn't like what we have to, what we have to say. She doesn't want to hear what we have to say. So I think it all worked out, but it does show a problem with these school board members thinking that they can just call the cops and shut down. And this is the same party that believes in defunding the police, yet they want to run and scream police because they don't like what someone has to say.
Now, this video has been shared a lot. There are obviously many comments on both sides of the aisle. There are people standing up and saying, you know, that parents are being silenced. And then there are other people saying, hey, listen, we're just trying to protect the kids. The school board wants what's best for the students. Just put on the masks and call it a day. What do you think about this?
I think if they were truly thinking of our children's best interest at heart, if they really thought the mask worked, it would be one thing. But we found out a few weeks ago, we exposed that our Montgomery County Public School Systems received $13 million in ESSER federal funding predicated on the universal masking of our children. So there was a financial incentive to go along with this. And that's why I don't believe personally that this has anything to do with their health or safety, because the facts and the science are in. Masks do more harm than good.
We have to wrap here, but you know, there was a part of the video where they basically said, I'm sorry, Ms. Vaught, you are done. If you're going to sit there and disparage a member of our school board, then you can sit down. But I think a lot of people who are pro-choice for the mask mandates or for the, you know, being able to wear a mask also feel like they have been disparaged and bullied. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I got yelled at the previous meeting by Ms. Cass for taking off our mask in protest. And then that's why I came back and said, hey, now, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
As we wrap up, what is the response that you have gotten and how do you feel?
The overwhelming majority has been so supportive, and I'm so grateful for the love and the support and the well wishes. And I feel that so many parents across America are just fed up with liberal hypocrisy. And I would just encourage all the parents to stand up and take back your school boards, because that's what we plan to do.
Alicia, how many kids do you have?
Two boys.
All right. Well, go get back to your boys. We appreciate you spending time with us this morning.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too.